Yo, it's me, Tony. It's Monday. Ask Me Anything Monday. You're coming inside of me. I'm coming inside of you. Come will happen inside of each other. I am suffering. Am I ever like, hey everyone, I'm thriving? No, I'm suffering. I was like itchy all last night, just in an itch vortex while sleeping. Love that for myself. Also, I'm just in nightmare city. Every night I truly have nightmares. I have the classic stress dream of like going back to high school and not knowing where any of my classes are. Uh, that one's a recurring one for me. I don't know where the classes are. I don't know my homework, things like this. Last night, I don't even know what the fuck was going on, but I need rest. I need to not be traversing through the astral plane in such an intense way every night. Like, why can't I just be normal? You know that now that I think about it, I used to cry about that all the time when I was a kid. And I'm not, this is gonna sound so fucking arrogant, but I hope you can go with me on this journey. I used to cry all the time and wish I was dumb because everyone else seems so much happier. Not that I was like some genius little kid, okay? I wasn't like, oh, here, equations, and like I know all about history, or I didn't have any special skills. But what I did have was fucking eyes. And I was definitely recognizing injustice, inequality, homelessness. Oh, homelessness. Homelessness upset me so much as a kid, which is also funny because it really upset my daughter as well. And I remember once she was young, like maybe 5, and I was exposed to homelessness a lot more than her because I lived in Boston. I lived in the city, so I was seeing it a lot. And I remember there was this one guy who my family would call rah 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 because that's what he would just go like rah 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 rah. He would say something to you, but what he would say was rah rah rah. But every fucking day of my life, I gave that guy money for so many years because he was at the subway station, and I took the subway to school, even as a young child. So that's something you did back in the 80s and 90s. You just like took the subway to school, but I would always give rah 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 money. But okay, so so my daughter, she saw less homeless people because she was growing up in the country, but we would go into Brattleboro, which is where my dance studio is. And every time she saw a homeless person, she was just devastated. And there was this one time where this woman came up to my car and asked for money, and I like opened my wallet and I gave her $1, and my daughter was like, Mom, you have 3 20s in there. And I was like, mm-hmm. And she was like, yeah. And so then I gave this woman 3 $20 bills. I gave her $60. And when she left, my daughter was like, I can't believe you were only going to give her $1. She's homeless. And I was like, ouch. Yes. Okay. So in front of my daughter, I have to truly empty out my wallet. Whatever is in there, I must give to whatever homeless person asks. I cannot have $1 left, or else she will lose all respect for me. So, I no longer carry cash. Just kidding. No, I she fucking keeps it real, that one. Holy fuck. So, why am I talking about this? Oh, I don't know. Oh, wishing that I could sleep, wishing that I was normal, wishing that I was dumb. This was a childhood dream of mine because all the other kids were having so much fun. They looked happy to me. And I was like, what do you, hello? Are you guys not noticing what's happening? I was upset. I was upset as a child. So I guess that continues. It continues. It has followed me. But it's interesting that I equated that with intelligence retrospectively. I didn't think because one thing that I could never understand was like a compass. I remember once in the 5th grade, they like sent us out into the woods and we're supposed to follow one of those maps, like one of those, I think it's a topographical map. I don't know, but it has like lines and circles all in it, so you're supposed to know like what's a mountain and what's a hill, and you're supposed to follow this map and figure your way out of the woods. And I remember being in the woods with my stupid little map and my compass and being like, I don't get it. Like, I could sense completely the limits of my own intelligence, and I was like, it stops here. I don't understand. I don't understand what I'm looking at. But thank the heavens, I do have like an unbelievable sense of direction, and I just somehow figured it out. There's so many weird things I just figured the fuck out. Like sailing, I do not understand sailing, but as a kid, they would just like put us kids in a boat and then just like set us out on the lake, not the ocean. It was a lake, but the sail, like the boom, the metal part of the sail was constantly hitting me in the head. I did not know how to read wind, but somehow I would go out and come back. I don't understand. Also, how did I get around with no directions on a phone? Like the reason I could like believe in myself is because I learned how to drive where I just would go places with no directions. I'd just be like, okay, this was before MapQuest. You just had to remember where to go, or you had to like ask a motherfucker and then write it down. And usually they were like, I don't know, the third house on the left, you do a pirouette. And then you go backwards until the crow flies. And then you see if you can find a squirrel. That squirrel will take you to my house, and somehow we fucking made it. Also, have no idea how I ever found anyone at a concert. But I was going to concerts and I was finding people. I think our telepathy was better then. Okay, today, Ask Me Anything Monday. I'm gonna read you an email that someone sent to me that wasn't a question, but it provoked for me a conversation that I also have been wanting to have with y'all, which is the importance of sharing your story. Okay, so obviously I have this show. Maybe it's not obvious. If this is the first time you've ever heard me, welcome to Coming in Me. But I have this show called Grape Culture. It is on tour right now. I'm going to Boston. I'm going to Philadelphia. I'm going to Seattle. I'm hopefully going to Portland. So Grape Culture is about the culture of domination without consent. It's about rape culture, but I call it grape culture because censorship, social media. Okay, so I have been going on and on and on about this for quite some time, to the point where I'm like, should I just like shut the fuck up? Also, P.S., my algorithm in my Instagram is now a absolute living nightmare. Because I started with Serafina, who is my partner in grape. She and I started a grape culture healing Instagram at Grape Culture Healing, because that's the name of our website, Grape Culture Healing. Because some fucking wine dorks own grapeculture.com. I mean, God bless them, but also like, what are you doing? Give me your URL. Like, stop being a fucking dick. It is grape culture that you won't give me your URL, and you're just like keeping it to talk about vineyards, all right? We need to talk about rape! Okay, I'm doing well. So anyway, I have been also posting a lot on my stories, being like, hey everyone, in case you're confused why you should come see this show, Grape Culture, which by the way, it is not a sad show. You will fucking laugh almost the whole time. I'm not saying a tear won't be shed, perhaps it will, but it is funny because I'm a fucking comedian, you know? So I'm gonna like make the show funny. That was important to me. I wanted to make every scene funny. Almost every scene, okay? 95% of it is funny as fuck. So, what am I saying? I often forget what I'm trying to tell you because I'm talking to my fucking self. That's why I forget. There's no one to hold me accountable except for me. And you know how I don't like to identify with any labels, but am I a neurodivergent ADHD fucking weirdo? Absolutely I am. I'll take that label, I guess. So long story long, sharing stories. Oh, yeah. I have been sharing a lot of stories on my stories about grape culture, and because the algorithm gives you what you are asking for, truly every single post I see now is about grape. So I don't know if that's just like the zeitgeist and people just like actively talking about it more than ever, or I am in a fucking grape vortex. So But this is why the show is a comedy, right? Because you can't just talk about grape as like, oh, sad, sad, sad. Because of course it's sad. No one's like, oh, ta-da! I was graped. Now watch me pull a rabbit out of my crotch for my next trick. Like, no, it's not like it's exciting to talk about one's grape. However, if we only talk about grape in this like very specific way, like, oh, you gotta be quiet, you have to have hushed tones, and it's a secret, and like also like you don't know, like actually sometimes you're in a good mood. Sometimes you like just had coffee and you like can talk about grape in a way that isn't, you're not like inside the wound of it, you're just talking about it. It's like you can talk about death in the same way. Sometimes you're really feeling the mourning and you're like sad, 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 crying, this person died. And other times you're like, oh yeah, this person died, I love them, I was so close to them. Also, this is a really funny story about them. Do you want to hear it? So I think we have to normalize the complexity of talking about horrendous, tragic things in a multitude of different tones. Because guess what? We're not always sitting in our trauma vortex. Sometimes we're just like sitting in diarrhea. All right. Oh, speaking of diarrhea, dude, my coffee came so I could sample my coffee. As you all know, I've been wanting to start a coffee line called Tony's Butt Mud. Is that banana pants? Would you buy coffee called Tony's Butt Mud? To me, it was very funny when the idea came. I didn't think it would like actually manifest. It was just like a manic thing that I said once. And then this angel from heaven who has a coffee company in Georgia, and they are all about not only being organic, but being like anti-colonizer, looking at coffee and slavery, being very honest about the history of coffee. This bitch has like a 30-hour PowerPoint presentation about the history of coffee and how it is rooted in white supremacy and colonization, and how they're trying to untangle that with their coffee brand. I mean, hello, could you think of a better coffee company for me to partner with? I surely can't. So they sent me some samples. I just had one. Obviously, I like it. And I guess the branding is it Tony's Butt Mud? Do I actually go through with that? Please, comments, concerns, ideas, communicate with me, because you are my target market. I'm not just doing this for shits and gigs. Actually, I'm 100% doing it for shits and gigs. But what if like my coffee company takes off, and then, well, not my coffee company, is their coffee company, but like my partnership with this coffee company takes off. Then me and this coffee company will just sail off into the sunset and not go to Epstein's Island. In fact, we will go and create a new non-pedo island of sustainability, progress, equality, honoring all genders and all races and the environment. And we will call it Donitopia. That's fucking funny to me. All right, moving on. The importance of sharing one's story. All right, so this is what this person sent to me, and it really meant a lot, and it made me feel like I am correct. And I love feeling right. If you know anything about me, I love to feel correct. So they wrote, "Hey Tony, I just wanted to send you a shout out and let you know I absolutely love being able to listen to all your podcasts and videos." Hell yeah. I mean, first of all, how fucking kind that someone is just like, I'm gonna take a moment to just like write this bitch on the internet. It's just dope, especially when we all know how oppressive an email is, to just like go and find my email and then write an email. This person is a living hero. I will be the first person to say that I have let myself be so ignorant on such important topics that you bring up, and I don't have an excuse for that, and I've been working on that. Oh, I just came. I just fucking came inside of you. What a cool thing to say. I'm obsessed with this person. I do want to be BFFs. I wanted to personally thank you for the grape culture topic, because I've experienced this as a young gay teen, being introduced to, having, quote, sugar daddies at like 15 years old. And for so many years, I've always tried to own accountability for putting myself in the situations to be around disgusting old men, as well as like hearing the same shit from those old ass creeps. Anyway, definitely in therapy, 39-year-old gay male, and hearing you bring up grape culture is just helping me to get my head right. This email is kind of all over the place, but hopefully you're able to take away from this and you are the best. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Oh, like I want to cry. I am not a crier, but oh, wait. Like tears are collecting in my eyes. And that is how I cry. Like I feel a collection of tears that happen behind my eyes and then they are swallowed back up by my Puritan blood because I was raised in New England where we pull plows, we are out in winter, and we do not cry. But I just cried reading this email because okay, this is what gives my life meaning because here I am just speaking to myself out into the vortex, praying that it fucking matters. Obviously, I'm not making a motherfucking dollar, which is why I'm trying to sell Tony's butt mud. Oh, and please support the Patreon. The way I can just go to the Patreon, I do think I need to teach a class in marketing. Please support the Patreon because I do not take corporate dollars. I do not monetize my audience like a dipshit on these fucking apps, all right? Because I think it would be lame and hypocritical. However, I make no money. Also, Instagram put me in jail because they're like, you're never monetizing, you dumb fucking cunt. Stop speaking about the government. I'm like, cool. I love that Instagram. Cool. So Instagram, they're never letting me monetize anyway. TikTok, I don't know. You think I'm going on TikTok shop? Absolutely not. God has blessed those who do that. I'm not, and you know me, I'm not capitalist shaming anyone, but I'm also going to shame the institution of capitalism until I explode. But God is blessed if that's what you're doing and you're like doing it. I'm not shaming you, okay? We are all victims of programming. But what I'm saying is support the Patreon. If you like this, podaroo, there are many tiers. You could just support me and just give me $5 a month and just like, I will actually genuinely pray for you every single day of my life in the morning and at night. And that's not a fucking joke because I do pray every morning and every night when I do my meditation. And you are in my prayers when you support me. And I'm not just saying that. And then there's other tiers where we can collaborate, where I can do creative coaching, where I can do somatic work with you one-on-one, where we can get into a creative coaching container and I will mentor you to blast yourself into social media stardom. I think so, or whatever kind of stardom you want. I'm gonna help you help yourself. All right, so long story. Oh, and then there's somatic sessions that we can do as a group for the $33 tier, and we will do that every solstice and every equinox. There, I did it. I sold my Patreon. Go to it. Don't fuck around. Don't make me suck corporate dick. All right, this is what I wanted to say. This email made me think about being a gay man for a second, and I want to say, and this is a question I have. I'm obviously not a gay man. But I wonder about the level of grape culture within the gay male community and how, because you know you are just part of like this disenfranchised group. So if you are a young gay male who's being violated, or you're just a gay male who's being violated by other gay males, is there like a way that you are slightly protective of your perpetrator because you understand how hard, scary, complicated, how society views gay men. Therefore, you're like part of the grape culture of gay men. I also think gay men perpetrating against other gay men is that it's kind of like when it's like I think of it, and again, this is me pontificating. I'm curious. I would love to know what other gay men thought of this point, but it's almost like a sibling, right? Like my sibling would throw me down the fucking stairs, okay? Take the remote from me, and just like the amount of sibling abuse I experienced was a lot, but I would never snitch. I would never tell. My mouth was fucking shut because I didn't want to tell the authority figures and get my sibling in trouble, right? So I wonder if the grape culture within the gay community is like even more rampant than we understand as heterosexuals, because it's like, I don't trust the authority. I don't trust society. I don't trust this culture to like sell out my fellow gay man, even though he is my perpetrator. That is grape culture. I think I'm onto something. I'd love to know more, but when I read this person's email, I was like, oh yeah, no, of course you were staying quiet, because also he mentioned he was 39. So, okay, he's 15. Being gay when he was 15 was not easy. And this was another thing that I was thinking about for the poor young gay man who does not have access, especially in the 90s, I think this was, to other gay boys. Like, it was very hard to come out at that point. So it's like, oh, you're more of a target because the only way that you can like make out with other gay men, or it's like harder to make out with gay boys, so you have more access to gay men who are out, right? And then you're more easily in a pedo situation, grapo, because like you're a young boy who wants to experiment with your sexuality, and you don't have access to people your own age because it's quote unquote shameful and you have to hide it. So how it's like almost like the grapey culture of making coming out so complicated means that more gay boys will be exploited and pedoed and grapoed because they don't have access to kids their own age in the same way, especially if you're not in like a gay friendly environment. So it's like, it's handing over these boys to pedos because they're like, oh, I am sexually curious. So then they take on more of the, because here he even says like how much he was blaming himself, how much he was wondering his own responsibility. Just because he was sexually curious doesn't mean a man should have pedoed him. A sugar daddy, a 15-year-old boy, that's a child. My daughter is 15. She plays with a fucking dollhouse. We went swimming yesterday and I threw a ball at her for over an hour as she jumped off of a high dive. We play those games. We make bracelets. She is a fucking kid. So I do want to say to this man who wrote me this email, you are a fucking child. 15 is so fucking young, and no man should have been doing anything in any way, shape, or form with you that was sexually explicit at all, regardless if you were like potentially curious. You know what I'm saying? And like that, it's like I am a woman, so I'm talking about my experience within grape culture, but it's like, this is why sharing our stories is so important. And this is why I wanted to share this person's story, because it's like, if another gay man is listening to this and he can see himself in this and be like, wait a second, or maybe he did this to a young boy and was like, fuck, I fucking did that. Fuck, I wish I didn't do that now. Because again, things were so normalized. Like, and maybe, like, let's say you're 25 and then you're doing a pedo with a 15-year-old boy, but you think, oh, well, it's so hard to be gay, and I'm giving this guy an experience. Like, there's so many ways we can do the mental gymnastics to justify this. So what if you were a gay man who did this to a boy? What now? And this is where the reconciliation comes. Okay, so this is what I was thinking about, the importance of telling stories. And like, if every single person that ever sexually violated another human being went to jail, we don't have enough space. I mean, thank the goddess they would let all the drug offenders out first, because putting someone in jail for drugs is a fucking crime. Okay, let's just be clear about that. That is a fucking crime to put someone in jail for taking drugs. All right, for selling drugs, fine. But taking drugs, absolutely fucking not. So what am I trying to say? We don't have the space to put everyone in jail who is graping. We don't. And is that the answer? Is that the answer? So this is the other thing. It's like, there are the grapers that are like the like, I know I'm graping you, right? Like, I am clear. I have a knife to your throat, or I am attacking you with my friends, or I am putting my hand over your mouth. There's like there's the obvious graper, like the graper that's like, yes, I am graping. Then there's the more common graper, which is the, wait, what? I did what? Wait, I graped too. Who was I graping? You were the graper, friend. But if you don't understand grape culture and you don't understand the complexity of consent, and you're not curious about a person's experience with you, then you might unconsciously be graping. I think that's a huge portion of people. The sleep graper, the mentally asleep graper, just being like, wait, I didn't know I couldn't do that. Oopsie doopsie. So this is, I think, the people we have to get to first. Yeah, the obvious grapers, the like, woo, let's do this, putting it on their calendar, having an agenda to grape. That's phase two. We're gonna hit you up on phase two, sir. But let's talk about the confused graper first. Because I think that that is a huge portion of people. So that is another reason why sharing our stories is so important, because a graper, or, a confused graper, a sleepy graper could hear this story and be like, holy fuck, I am having to investigate my own behavior. And this is the thing, is that graping is a serial act. You don't just usually wasn't one just doesn't do it once, with the conscious grapers, the woo, those guys, they're definitely serial grapers. The more they get away with it, they're gonna be emboldened to do it. But with the sleepwalking grapers, the sleepy grapers, they're gonna do it again out of complete ignorance, willful ignorance, I would say, but they're just gonna keep being grapey. So that's another reason to share your story. So then I was talking to a friend of mine who was sharing her grape stories with me. And again, it's the amount of, look, this is something I really want to say. I have never met a woman or a person who's been graped who doesn't question what they could have done differently. Okay? Who's not who is actually in a vortex of self-questioning. I've never met someone who was like, I was graped and I have no further questions for myself. No, there is a process of pulling yourself through the mud of wondering what you could have done differently, wondering what you did to provoke this, wondering what you did to quote unquote ask for it, wondering where you went wrong, wondering, it's so funny, Gandhi, everyone loves Gandhi. I've talked about this before. As a white person talking about Gandhi, a little uncomfortable, but you should do some research about Gandhi. One interesting fact about him is that his wife got really fucking sick and he was like, you can't take any medicine, and she died. And then he got the exact same sickness and he was like, I'll be taking that medicine. So weird move on his part. Also, he would sleep with women naked in order to test his control, his sexual control. So he would have his grandniece sleep with him naked and not come on to her in order to test his sexual control. Pretty grapey, pretty strange behavior. But also he was he would talk about if you were about to get graped, you should basically fight to the death. You should do everything you can. So Gandhi was this man of the peace, right? This man of the people. He was like, oh, if you're gonna get graped, why don't you just do a little battle royale real quick? Why don't you just fight to the death? Because wouldn't you rather be dead than to live with being graped? Actually, I'll take life, sir. I think most of us would rather heal from grape than die. All right? So strange fucking ideas there, Gandhi. Why don't you think them through a little bit? But I do think there is this cultural narrative of well, did you bite his dick off? Did you bite his dick off? Well, if you didn't bite his dick off and you didn't scratch his eyes out, then you could have done more. You could have done more. And then so we say that to ourselves. And I think a lot of us are in situations where if we're if we bit his dick off, he would have stopped. Yes. If you had even been no, and screamed no in his face, especially if this is a boyfriend, especially if this is a husband, especially if this is a friend, he would have stopped. So then you blame yourself because you're well, I didn't scream no in his face or bite his dick off, even though I said, I'm not ready. I don't want to do this. I need to slow down. You may have communicated that you were not interested in having sex, but you didn't choke him. You didn't choke a bitch. So then you're well, I could have choked him and I didn't. So therefore, what did I do wrong to get graped? And this is what we do. This is what we do to ourselves. So I guess what I'm trying to remind us of, I'm trying to talk to the grapers out there, the defenders of grape, but also those who have been graped, is that we blame ourselves because it's like, well, I didn't shoot him in the fucking head, so obviously there was more I could have done to have stopped it, you know? Which is not taking into consideration how people react, the responses to trauma that people have. There is flight, there is freeze, there is fawn, and there is flop, and there is fight. Okay, so yes, there are some people out there who will have a trauma response of fight or flight. Yes, that exists. I'm not saying that doesn't exist. I have actually experienced both, okay? Oh, yeah. Because I think I did tell this story on Gnarly Girls. I did tell a grape story where I fought. But I think the reason why I fought, I'll tell you an abridged version of it, because I can't remember what Gnarly Girls episode it was. Maybe the second one. I think it was in the diddling one. We talked about, oh God, for how long I've been talking about diddling with Diddy. But I was fucking stoned. And because I was stoned, when this guy came after me on the beach, and he did come after me like aggro. It wasn't like one of those like, oh, you're making out and it goes too far kind of grapes. It was like, oh no, this is like someone who's like descending upon me. But because I was so high, I think like the holy goddess of the marijuana was like, we're gonna put a little fight in this bitch. And I fucking fought this man and threw sand in his eyes and like physically fought him. And he was so off guard. He was confused. But was he actually stronger than me? Of course he was stronger than me, but he wasn't faster than me. So I caught him off guard, and then I like also ran faster away. And I got sand in his eyes, which was like good move on my part. But that's not like my MO. You know, I'm not always going around being like, I'm gonna just like street fighter this guy who's attacking me. I think the weed really helped. But I've also had I've also been drugged. So then I'm like drugged. The being drugged, I mean, what can one do? You're drugged. You're just like unconscious. That's a hard one. That's a hard one to have a fight or flight response. So then I've been drugged. But then I feel like there's these situations that I've been in where I've felt the fawn and felt the freeze and felt the flop. You know, where you're just like, oh, okay. And then, of course, if you've had sex before, this is something, if it's someone you've had sex with, especially, you'll just kind of do the flop and you'll just like wait for it to be over, which is not a fucking vibe. Waiting for sex to be over. It's upsetting. It's upsetting. I feel sadness for my past flopping body that was just like, just being pumped away into like, just like a state of just waiting. It's some sad ass shit. So this is why we share stories, is like, but do I think, again, it's like the legal system within this conversation is complicated, because how can we involve the legalness in these like great, oh my God, I did a film called Gray Story. I forgot about this fucking film with my girl Bridget Birkin. It's a really good film. I should re-release it, or I should just like give y'all the Vimeo link. It's a really good short film. But basically what I did is I took this Bridget and this guy who were on a date, and the movie's called Gray Story. So the first half of the film is his perspective of the date. And it's like his perspective, and it's like a date, right? And they fuck. The second half is the exact same. They're in all the same positions. They say, oh my God, I'm a genius. I forgot what a genius I am. They say all the same fucking lines. They say the same words. But these were good actors. They say them different, right? Because at one point, Bridget's saying it like flirty, and the other point, she's saying it like an upset. I am smart. Remember how in the beginning I was like, I'm not that smart? I actually am smart. I forgot how good this fucking movie was. So then they say all the same lines, and the second half of the film. So again, all the same lines, all the same positions, like everything is like kind of the same, just a very different texture. You're like, oh, that's a grape. That's a grape night. It's a grapey night. Yeah, dude, that's a good fucking movie. I need to make y'all see that. It was so good. And the guy in it was so good too. They were really good at acting. They were good actors. They're good actors, my friends. Chris, I think that was his name, Chris. They were good, dude. So then the question is, well, what was the story? Was it her? Oh, also, you should follow my friend Bridget Barkin. She's in the Scissor Sisters. You should listen to that band. So at Bridget Barkin, Barkan, at Scissor Sisters. What a great name for a band. That is such a good fucking name. They're going to the UK for the next couple weeks. They just finished a tour with Kesha. It was sick. She invited me. I truly had one of the best nights of my fucking life. I went with my daughter and her friend. It was so good. That's another story. But, where am I? That was a good fucking film. Oh, so you look at the film. The first half is, you say, oh, it's his perspective. The second half, it's her perspective. Or are they both her perspective? Is she oscillating from thinking, wait, was this totally okay? Was this a hookup? Am I overreacting? Or was this a grape? I don't fucking know. Maybe they're both her fucking perspective. That's why it's called Gray Story. This is why art is important. This is why storytelling is important. This is why my show Grape Culture is important. I mean, like, who do I gotta blow around here to get you to come see my show? LO motherfucking L. None of you. I do not give blowjobs. I am the laziest sexual partner this side east of the Mississippi. Also, I don't like oral sex. I don't like receiving it. I don't like giving it. It's just too much mouth on genitals. I'm too Puritan for it. This New England blood of mine. I can't handle it. The pilgrims are inside of me. They're like, we don't do that. I know a lot of people love that oral sex. Maybe it's too wet. Also, a flaccid penis in the mouth is very chalky. I haven't had too many, but when I did, I was like, why is this chalky? Also, bowls can have a chalkiness to them. And then the hair on the balls in the mouth, you would have to have a waxed ass ball. And it had to be so clean. I'm not saying it's impossible. The ball is a little more interesting because it's like, I'm trying to remember. I have had balls in my mouth. Of course I have. I'm a grown-ass woman. But it's been a while. It's been a while since I have had balls in my mouth. It has been a while. I just, I don't know. I'm too confident to put balls in my mouth at this stage of life. No, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm just like, you know what I think it is? I do have a stand-up bit about it, but I just think I am too giving in life to go around putting balls in my mouth. I'm too good of a partner. Back to grape culture. All right, so why do I think we should share our stories? It's because we have to heal. Oh, this is the whole point. I'm like wondering. I was like, I know I wanted to say this for a reason. So like with this email that this guy wrote me, he's like, oh, I'm in the process of healing now. I'm in the process of facing what happened. I'm in the process of this journey. So one cannot heal what one does not see, right? So if we're going around like covering up the wounds of our grapes or our grapey scenarios or our like violations, right? And we're like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. No problem here, everything's fine. Your body is going to start to feel the repressed emotions of that trauma. I mean, we all know this, like your organs, your muscles, your tendons, your bones, however the trauma is going to manifest in your body, if you don't address it, it's going to show up. It's going to show up as dis-ease of the body, right? So I'm really happy that this person wrote me and is like on the journey of healing, because then they're not going to get an issue with their colon. They're not going to have their liver explode because of repressed rage, okay? Like we have to face what happened to us in order to heal from what has happened to us. We have to be able to admit what has happened to our bodies in order to heal from what has happened to our bodies. And I think that's the thing that like I recognize a lot in my own healing process, because y'all know I got some body problems, is a lot of times it's about having compassion for the body of my past self. Like I remember there was this one guy and I went on a Coke binge with him for 2.5 days. And look, he was hot and I liked him a lot. I liked him. Did I love him? Kinda. I kinda did. And he was a raging cokehead. I was young, so I was like, all right, I'll do coke with this guy for 2 days. Why not? But like towards the end of our coke binge, he was just really pressuring me into some sexual activity that I did not want to do. I like did not want to, and said no, I didn't want to many times, but he would not let it go. And because I liked him, and because I was like hadn't slept for 48 hours, and because I was like in his bed, and because he wouldn't fucking shut up about it, I think I eventually acquiesced, which I don't love for my past body, right? So, it's like one of those things where I'm like, oh, well, okay, well, I did it. Okay, But my body was like not into that. My body was not down to clown in that way. And I think that like caused harm. I know it caused harm, but because I liked him, and because I was really into him, and because I slept with him again afterwards and all of these things, I just was like, okay, whatever, and just was like, oopsie, must have been me. Versus like, yeah, dude, maybe you don't like pressure a girl that says no 25 times. Maybe you just like don't do that. Maybe you just say like, okay, let's try again, or let's do something else. I was like in his bed. It's not like I was like, I'm getting out of here. I just didn't want to do what he wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to do that. I wasn't like, I want to like not touch you at all. I actually did. That's the thing that sucks. Is like a lot of times you're like, no, I want to like touch and connect and like be intimate with you, just like not in what you're fucking saying. And that is why consent is so important, and enthusiastic consent, right? It's got to be enthusiastic. What I really appreciate with my current relationship, my husband, is that he gets very turned on by consent. He likes that you want to do something. He is not into things that I don't. This is why he's not a dick about the blowjob, because he's like, well, you don't like it. So like, he doesn't really want it because he knows it's not my thing. Like, look, if he was like, dude, I like need a blowjob, I would be like, yes, of course. Like he empties the dishwasher a lot. There's a lot of labor that this guy does within the home. Is he deserving of a blowjob? 100% he is, without a doubt. Personally, I'd rather outsource it, but he's a Scorpio and he just will not do that. I mean, I'm just like, why don't you just like go get blowjobs all the time? Like, truly, I would respect the hustle if he needed that, because I am so just like, eh. But however, he doesn't do that, nor does he necessarily want one from me, because he knows me so well and he wants me to want to do something. And he rather do the things that I want to do, because there's enough on the table where sperm will shoot out of his dick. And so he's like, well, there's enough here. There is enough. Sperm will shoot out of my dick in some fashion. So, all right, let's do it in the way that you enthusiastically want to. I mean, that's a fucking vibe. And that is the partnerships that we want. And like, look, this is why monogamy is also kind of problematic, is that like you may love people and you may not be 100% sexually compatible with him. Like them, they may be freakier than you. Like I do think that my husband is definitely freakier than me, which is, God is blessed, why I think he should have more freaky sex with other people beyond me, but he does not want to, because I think the psychological journey of being with me is just too stimulating for him to handle a freaky deaky chick in the bed. However, like that's his journey. But this is where monogamy is problematic, is because then we challenge our boundaries of consent, because like we like feel bad if one of us is freakier than the other, and then we're like, oh, I guess I gotta be freakier than I feel comfortable with. I think there's plenty of people out there who are just like, just like do bump missionary chumps like myself or whatever. I don't need to fucking tell you. But my point is that monogamy is also part of the psyop, but also I don't know, we should do a whole thing on monogamy. I have so many feelings about it that I haven't resolved, because I also think polyamory, where everyone's talking about it, and fluid bonding, I'm like, bleh! Nothing horrifies me more than the term fluid bonding. But I do think like a real polyamorous vibe could like be better when it comes to consent. That's what I think. I think culturally, there would be a lot more consent stuff happening if we were less like puritanical about the monogamy shit. To be discussed. Oh my God. We should also talk about porn addiction at some point. And if you porn addicted, will you write me an email about it so I can give you some advice and we can talk about porn addiction? Look, obviously, I don't tell anyone's email address. And also, I forget your name within 7 seconds, okay? So I'm not even, it's not like I'm gonna look your ass up and be like, which one of you is porn addicted? Now I'm gonna look at you and judge you and shame you. No, I'm gonna read your email and then move on with my fucking life. So if you have a porn addiction, please send me an email about it. Oh, whoa, I have been talking for fucking ever. This was a long. This was a long dick pod. Are we allowed to say dong for a dick? I can't tell if that's racist. I don't want to ever say it, but dong, long, and dong does rhyme. You know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of that 16 Candles right now, and that is racist. 16 Candles is racist. Did I say that in the other podcast? I don't know. I can't remember what I'm saying to myself and what I'm saying to my friends, but 16 Candles is sadly racist. And because it's sad, I say sad because it's sad when one is racist. And two, I love that movie. But even at the time, I was like, this is racist. Also, oh yeah, I was talking about the rape scenes in 16 Candles. I was definitely talking to you about it. Okay, so please support my Patreon. Please get tickets to Grape Culture. Please send people you know my link tree so they can get tickets to Grape Culture. If you want me to come to your area, please email me or DM me and say, come to my area, come grape in my area. And I also have Men Come Inside of Me and my hour stand-up, Pump Your Pelvis Against the Patriarchy, which will be at Joe's Pub, October 5th. Tickets go live, I think, on Wednesday. I still have to make the flyer. I don't have a picture of me pumping my pelvis against the patriarchy. I mean, I probably do, but it'd be like a screenshot from a phone, which I don't know. I have to make a flyer. Oh, God. I love you. I love you. Thank you for sitting with me. Okay. All right. I gotta get out of here. Okay, bye.